Welcome back, TCSTV viewers. It's Jordan Drake. I'm going to intro it this time. I'm the video guy. I'm here with my co-host, Chris Nichols.
The host extraordinaire, Chris Nichols. Very modest as usual. And we are here to do an After Dark. And it's not because we're lazy, right?
No, it's absolutely because we're lazy and we're short of time. But it's been a while since we've done this format.
That's true.
A lot of stuff has gone on. And just to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on the channel, and we got some stuff to talk about as
Plus,
well.
traditionally, we get to drink some beer, which is always
That's always a perk.
So I want to talk about what videos we have coming up. I know people are excited to do that. GX85 from Panasonic, very excited to play with that. And we also have the RX10 Mark III.
Yeah,
We've
so we
looked at every single one of those, haven't we?
I took the RX10 III out last weekend, started doing some test shots, took the GX85 out. We're not going to tell you what we thought, because then there's no incentive to watch that episode.
They won't watch it.
I'm getting constant comments, when is the FS5 review? It's shooting us right now. I'm a little terrified of this camera because if you've seen our Unsung Cameras of Yesteryear episode we just posted, there is some weird flickering going on and I can't figure out what's going on. So once again, FS5 review is pushed back until I find out what exactly is going on with that.
Plus they keep updating this camera, right?
Constantly.
I mean, there's new stuff coming out. We want to see how it is. So get off Jordan's back about the FS5 review.
I'm going to give you the most comprehensive
hear
one
about it.
When it's finally finished, we will put a review together. But I'm not going to do a review now when the raw update is on its way to us right now.
Exactly.
We'll wait till we've got everything for the camera, then we'll do a proper review of it. But it is coming. And honestly, this episode you're watching, look, it's a test of the FS5 right now. What do you think? Is it a good camera? Does this image look good?
That's a stretch.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about something very interesting tonight in our sort of State of the Union, how the industry is doing, because frankly, industry is not doing well. So I guess we should talk about that next.
Yeah, let's get on it.
So, of course, Japan has a lot of earthquakes. And they did have a major one in Kyushu just about a month ago. And what's interesting about our industry is, natural disasters actually affect our industry in a huge, big, bad way. And you wouldn't think it would. I mean, here in Calgary, this is like the safest place ever in the whole planet.
Yeah, we're totally
except
isolated
maybe
from
like
it.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And these earthquakes happen in Japan, and it really harms our industry.
Well, it's funny because pretty much all of the popular camera business is all centered in Japan. You know, there's some Germans and like there's Hasselblad and stuff, but mostly everything's constant. And Hasselblad's actually affected by this disaster as well with their new 100 megapixel chip. So
it is. You're right, actually, and we should talk about that because I mean, the production houses for all of these major camera companies are basically Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, Philippines. I mean, basically the Ring of Fire. Like, we've got really bad stuff that happens in this area. And you're right, even though we've got globally diverse camera companies, all the parts now are Asian.
Yeah, they're all coming from that same region, and this is exactly the region that got hit.
Yeah.
So I don't think, there's been little hints and stuff like that online about it, but we're definitely getting the impression, I think, that if you want a camera and you don't already have that camera, we're not going to see much for the rest of the summer.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Nikon, of course, very admirable of them to be totally upfront. They made a press release. Like, look, this earthquake is damaged us pretty bad. Bodies, lenses, these are going to be a big problem. And I mean, they just released the D5. They just released the D500. And now we're being told, like, no cameras for months.
Yeah, and we're seeing the same thing on the Sony side, like the 6300.
Yeah.
Huge launch, and apparently that's going to be nearly impossible to get your hands on. So thankfully, I got mine already.
But I would like to just take it back in time a little bit because this is not the first disaster that's affected the camera industry in Asia by a long shot. 2011 was actually particularly bad. We had like a 1-2 punch because you had the flooding in Thailand, and of course we had the tsunami and the Fukushima incident.
Like if you were looking for a Canon 1D4 or especially like the Sony NEX7, they did this big launch on this camera. Everyone's really excited. No one got one for like 6 months.
I remember the Thailand flood, Nikon 1 cameras were totally held back.
Gone.
A lot of entry-level and mid-level DSLRs were delayed. And that did hurt our industry. And of course, it hurt Nikon, it hurt Sony. They posted big losses. Yeah. Fukushima was very, very disastrous as well. But what's interesting about those ones is it was very clear the devastation was done. With this earthquake, it's a little bit different because maybe it's not as obvious the damage that's done, and the companies aren't all being totally like upfront about
We're not getting a
what's
straight
hurting.
answer. Like all we've really heard from is from Sony and Nikon saying this is bad. There's a lot of other companies that are just saying there's definitely going to be some impact, but we don't know exactly what it is.
It's interesting, we've heard on the one hand, or word around town is that Canon's basically unaffected. But at the same time, they're also saying no comment officially when it comes
Right.
to any sort of stuff. So that could be really bad.
We
Who
might want to
knows?
assume the worst. And when the 80D and they've got the 1DX2 on the way,
Sure.
a lot of these hugely hyped cameras, which are not coming out
Yeah,
as
we
much
haven't,
as
we
we
haven't
want.
gotten many 1DXs yet. Yeah.
And there's definitely some issues with the concentration of camera manufacturers over there. Like earlier we were talking about the car analogy, right? Like if there's a production problem in, say, Germany or something, American and Japanese cars aren't going to be affected, but the entire camera industry is all so wrapped up in that area, like especially with sensors, because we know we're always saying, like, why doesn't everyone just use Sony's sensors? They're so good. And everybody kind of followed that advice a few years ago. Now Sony's sensor plant is damaged, and we're like, why can't we get any cameras?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they really are interspersed throughout that whole area. Whether the manufacturers like to admit it or not, Sony sensors do find their ways into a lot of different cameras.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think we actually commented on it recently, that big boom in 1-inch cameras that we're seeing right now. Whenever they are doing a press release, the few companies that are, those are the affected cameras. So I do think we're definitely going to see some issues there. Look at the new Nikon DLs that we've really wanted to get our hands on. We're probably not going to see those until the fall now. So yeah, the impact is already pretty huge.
Yeah. So again, folks at home, I mean, we don't really know the complete story here. We're kind of in the dark. And of course, this does affect us, which is why I want to talk about it. It affects the customers who want to get the products. It affects us because, yes, although our YouTube channel is unbiased and it's our own creation, we like to have fun with it. Yeah, we do work at a camera store. We do enjoy paying our mortgages and feeding our families once in a while, too. So, I hope that we'll get more information in the future and more will be revealed. And we'll see. And hopefully we have a speedy recovery in this. But I'm thinking we're going to be out for a couple months.
I mean, I think you can almost look at this as an opportunity because so much there's the new camera crutch where you're like, oh, I'm going to go on this shoot once I get my new camera or whatever. And I know that I'm certainly guilty of this.
Yeah.
I buy an expensive camera and I'm like, oh, now I have to go take pictures to justify this expensive purchase I just made. But now, you might not be able to get your hands on that camera. So, try a new type of photography, like dabble with some lighting or do
hey,
macro. Or
guess what? Didn't get affected by the earthquake. Book manufacturing.
There you go.
Buy some camera books, read for a change. That'd be nice, yeah.
That's why we shot over here at the bookstore. You were thinking about it. Okay.
Now, I know this is sad news, but we're not just talking about this. Let's get into some more happy stuff.
What good news could that be, Chris?
Well, funny you should ask. Our contest is still on. This is the second episode of 5 episodes. You guys are supposed to be looking for an Easter egg camera in this video somewhere. And I just want to make it clear, it's for all of our viewers across the world because although we are Canadian-based, we are now internationally loved, which we really appreciate out there.
So just take a look down in the description. There will be a linky link. You can click that, fill out the form, and enter to win the
You can't buy a
Fuji S5.
D500, but you can certainly win a brand new Fuji S5 Pro.
And it'll take the same lenses.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. And the sensor plant for that stopped making sensors like 5 years ago. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, too, guys, of course, we are hurting in the industry, but more importantly, we do feel bad for the people who are actually affected physically by this earthquake. So let's remember, we have it way better off. And this is a good time to get lenses, get drones, read some books, learn flash photography and all the
become a
rest.
better photographer instead of getting a better camera.
Look at that.
See, they should let me in front of the camera more often.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, don't forget as well, check us on Instagram. Tweet
Follow
us.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Definitely subscribe. We just finally got our hands on an unsung camera that we have been looking everywhere for. That's coming up soon as well.
Very exciting. You like the NC2000, you are going to love the next one. And again, don't forget, no more SLRs for a little while. It's now going to be back to mirrorless, RX10 Mark III, GX85. When you see us next, you'll be watching one of those videos. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you again soon.